Good morning, everyone. Today, we're embarking on a fascinating journey to the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, specifically to unravel a medical mystery from the 1930s. Dr. Weston Price, a pioneer in nutritional research, discovered a population that seemingly defied all modern medical logic. Living in what we might consider challenging conditions, they exhibited remarkable immunity to the era's deadliest diseases. This is the story of their lost immunity and the profound lessons it holds for us today. Imagine a place where the environment itself seems to actively resist human habitation. The Isle of Lewis is such a place, windswept, harsh, and unforgiving. Gale force winds prevent trees from ever taking root, and the very soil is not earth, but peat, making traditional farming nearly impossible. There are no lush pastures for dairy animals, no bountiful gardens for fruits and vegetables. By all conventional measures, human survival here should have been a constant, marginal struggle. The traditional Gaels lived in structures known as black houses. These weren't your typical homes. Built with thick walls of stone and dirt, and roofed with thatch, they offered protection from the elements. But inside, things were even more unique. There were no chimneys. Peat fires burned directly in the center of the floor, filling the interior with smoke that slowly filtered out through the thatched roof. And, in many cases, cattle shared the living space, often in one end of the house, breathing the same air as the family. It was a close-knit, traditional way of life. From a modern health perspective, these conditions sound like an environmental nightmare. The peat smoke was often so thick that visibility inside the home was severely limited. With few windows and no proper chimney, ventilation was practically non-existent. Common sense would dictate that constant smoke inhalation, combined with close proximity to animals and a lack of modern hygiene, would be a recipe for widespread respiratory disease. The medical theories of the time certainly pointed in that direction. And here lies the profound mystery, the tuberculosis paradox. Despite living in these smoke-filled, poorly ventilated huts, and despite the absence of what we consider basic sanitation, tuberculosis, or TB, was virtually non-existent among the traditional Gaels. This disease was ravaging populations across the globe, yet these islanders were immune. The burning question for Dr. Price was, how could a people living in such seemingly toxic conditions possess such complete immunity to a deadly lung disease? The contrast with Stornoway Port, just a few miles away, makes this paradox even more striking. In this burgeoning port city, residents lived in modern housing, with clear air, proper chimneys, windows, and separation from their livestock. These were the hallmarks of superior hygiene and modern living. Yet, here, the white plague of TB was rampant. Local hospitals were tragically filled with dying patients, and young adults rarely survived past their 20s. It was a stark and devastating difference. This stark contrast gave Drive Price a critical clue. If hygiene and fresh air were the ultimate protectors, the Gaels in their black houses should have been ravaged by disease, while the Stornoway residents should have thrived. But the reality was precisely the opposite. This led to a powerful deduction: the protective factor wasn't in the air they breathed, nor was it in their living conditions. The key, he realized, had to be in the food they ate, their nutritional input. Without access to dairy herds or garden produce, the resourceful Gaels looked to the abundant sea to replicate the nutrient density found in other healthy populations. Drive Price studied. Their diet relied heavily on the ocean's bounty, specifically cod, various shellfish, crab, and lobster. And for their grain, the only crop that truly thrived in the peat soil was oats, which they consumed as porridge or oatcakes, always ground whole to preserve the nutrient-rich germ. It was a diet dictated by their environment, but rich in vital elements. Dr. Price identified one specific dish as the cornerstone of their immunity: crappet hide, which translates to stuffed cod heads. It's a testament to their nutritional ingenuity. The process involved taking the cod's liver, mincing it, and mixing it with whole oats. This rich mixture was then stuffed back inside the hollowed-out head of the cod, and the entire creation was steamed and eaten. Every part of the fish was honored and utilized for its incredible health benefits. This seemingly simple dish reveals a profound understanding of biological mechanisms. The Gaels intuitively created a perfect nutritional supplement. The cod liver was a powerhouse of fat-soluble vitamins A and D vital for immune system fuel, much like the high vitamin butter drive. Price found in the Swiss Alps. And the head and bones provided massive amounts of calcium and phosphorus, essential building blocks for robust bone structure and healthy skeletal development. They were truly nourishing their bodies from the inside out. Now, let's contrast this with the diet in Stornoway Port. Here, the protective, nutrient-dense foods from the sea were tragically abandoned for the foods of commerce brought in by ships. The menu shifted to fine white flour, orange marmalades, sugar syrups, canned goods, and chocolates. While these foods provided calories and a sense of convenience, they offered zero protective nutrients, especially vitamins A and D. This created a profound nutritional deficit, leaving their bodies defenseless against the TB bacillus, despite improved hygiene. The physical degeneration caused by this shift in diet was measurable and stark, clearly visible even in their dental health. Just compare the cavity rates, a mere 1.3% among the traditional Gaels, compared to a staggering 30% in the modern port residents. What makes this even more compelling is that this decay occurred in the port city despite the availability of modern toothbrushes, which were unknown in the black houses. This is forensic evidence that speaks volumes about the impact of diet. Beyond just cavities, the lack of essential building materials, calcium, phosphorus, and vitamins A and D in the modern diet physically altered the population within a single generation. Those on the traditional diet exhibited wide faces, broad jaws, and perfectly straight teeth with ample room for all 32. In contrast, the modern diet led to narrower faces, underdeveloped jaws, and crowded, crooked teeth. It shows how profoundly our nutrition shapes our very physical being, not just our internal health. Dr. Price's study of the Gaels delivered a fundamental medical truth, often summarized as terrain over germ. Yes, the TB bacteria, the germ, was undoubtedly present even in the black houses, exacerbated by smoke irritation and lack of hygiene. But the traditional, nutrient-dense diet created a terrain, a body so robust and resilient, that the germ simply could not take hold. The undeniable conclusion: nutrition is the primary driver of immunity and overall health. Hygiene, while important, is secondary to the foundational strength provided by proper nourishment. The isolated Gaels offer us timeless wisdom from the edge of the world. They proved that human health and robust immunity are not dependent on a comfortable or sterile environment, but profoundly on a nutrient-dense one. By honoring and utilizing the entire animal, the liver, the head, the bones, and by steadfastly avoiding the empty calories of refined commerce, they built immunity where it theoretically shouldn't have existed. The powerful lesson for us today is this: we cannot always control our external environment, but we absolutely can control what fuels our internal defenses, empowering us to live vibrantly and age gracefully.